What up, though? This your brother Mike X.
My killers got them suits on like followers of Farrakhan.
And welcome to the 17 Winners Podcast, the realest podcast in the game.
I'm the jig in my city, yeah. I'm not saying they not good, nah. I'm just saying I'm the realest. Facts.
What up, though? It's your brother Mike X, and welcome to another episode of the 17 Winners Podcast. You know how I do. This time I ain't got to say it's a special episode because, hell, the episode is going to speak for itself. This is a brother who, first and foremost, before I even get off into who he is, because he ain't as important as this announcement. So this is episode number 25. We've been here, man, it's been a couple years grinding, trying to figure out this podcast game and how, like, podcasting works. So this is episode 25. They say by the time you get to episode 50, you figured out your niche and had this thing under your control finally. So I'm halfway there, right? I'm making progress. But in honor of it being a special 25th episode, so damn, I guess I did say a special episode, right? Well, y'all know me, every episode is special because I'll be speaking to brothers and soon sisters that have special stories and who have been through special things and stood up in that and the challenge that they went through, right? So that being said, man, I'm with a brother today who I had a relationship with since, we was young, since we were teenagers. I used to call him my little brother before we went to prison. Brother just got done serving a 9-year prison sentence. And this is also, as well as it being the 25th episode, it's also the first episode I had with somebody who like just came home. Usually I'm talking to people who have been out of prison for like a little while. I think the most recent person who had got out was my guy Adam Grant. He was just released and had been home maybe like 2 years. Okay. But he been grinding. It might have been even a little bit longer than that, but he hasn't been home like a long time. But you are the like first time I had somebody come on that's like fresh out.
Fresh out that water.
To my listeners, I want y'all to welcome my guy, my little brother. And hell, it's funny when I was describing him to I don't even know who I was talking to when I was talking about you, but I was like, yeah, man, my little man. Oh, I was talking to my nephew, and I was like, yeah, my little man just came home. I said, hold on, he ain't nobody little man. This brother grown as hell. He didn't, man. You know what I'm saying? He didn't survive the war. So, welcome this brother, my brother, Ethan, to the 17 Winners Podcast. Welcome, bro. So I'll allow you to kind of talk a little bit about yourself, right? Before I move into my questions or whatever, if it's anything that you want to, that I didn't cover in your introduction, man. You giving your government out or no? You just going to leave it at E or Ethan?
Well, you know, if you know, you know, but I go by E.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is my brother right here.
Yes, sir.
Grew up on the south side of Lansing.
That for sure. That's for sure. For my listeners that don't know, I grew up here in Lansing, Michigan, and on the south side. So my dog grew up right on the south side with me. Without, I guess, further ado, let's get off into it, man. So one thing I stay away from when it comes to the 17 Winners Podcast is I'm not finna be asking you about, crimes and stuff that you like didn't serve your time and like do your bit for. But what I will ask, if you don't mind, and you still ain't for it, like this ain't Vlad, I ain't trying to get no, you know what I'm saying? Right. No spins off of no controversy. So if you don't feel comfortable with it, you ain't got to worry about it. But if you don't mind, can you tell my listeners like what you served 9 years for and how you ended up back home now? Because if I'm not mistaken, you had to get back to the courts in order to get yourself back home, right?
Right.
So talk to him a little bit about that.
Basically, man, it was a long process, man. Like, before I went to the joint, I was moving real reckless and wild, doing too much, playing games with my freedom.
For sure.
Had some run-ins with authorities. I had been going through this for years, though, like, since my childhood days, for real, like,
Just you had a juvenile record.
Yeah, I had a juvenile record of disdain for authority,
right?
You know, or whatever you want to call it. So was like 28 at the time.
When you caught your case?
When I caught my case back in 2016.
Okay.
You know, and literally ran into a brick wall, man, you know.
Like, what you mean literally ran into, like, did you get in a high-speed chase?
Like, yeah, at the end of the day, when it was all said and done, man, I ran from the police, man. And
Okay.
I was on bond for another case out of the neighboring county.
Okay.
And crashed into a house, man, fleeing and eluding. Damn near died, you feel me?
Damn.
Just reckless, man, playing games in the streets, man, doing too much, man. And I was a consequence of my circumstances, man. And that's basically what happened, man. Landed me to the joint.
Yeah.
Went in front of them people that really don't care about our people and had hidden agendas. So I wasn't all the way situated at the time. So he ended up going upside my head, told me if he could give me more time, he would.
Oh, straight up?
He ended up retired.
So they gave you like the max on what they could have gave you?
He went outside my guidelines, man. Body slammed me.
He went outside your guidelines? On what ground?
Yeah, man. On the grounds of basically my criminal record, but I was in the law library while I was gone, and I found out, like, people versus Lockridge, like, they got to have substantial and compelling reasons to go outside your guidelines.
Yes, sir.
So, and that was on the case that I was on bond for. To make a long story short, I had caught a drug charge, got out, and got into that fleeing in the loop.
Okay.
8 years for both cases. They ran them concurrent. Fought for my life, trying to get back. Got a job in the law library. Was around some solid guys.
So they gave you two 8-year ran concurrent. Ran concurrent for my listeners. That means that basically the time from both independent sentences will be running at the same time. So you're not going to be doing 16 years. It's just one 8-year term, but they are ran as if they're two parallel running sentences, correct?
Yeah. So a couple years off into my bit, I had learned a little bit about the law because I had been working in the law library around some brilliant guys that's still trying to get out. And Court of Appeals got shot down. Supreme Court gave me my action. I went and gave the time back. And after that, I tried to get the other time back, but they played me out in Eaton County. So by then, I had already had some time in, about 6 years. I'm almost there. Let me just read a few more books, do some more pull-ups.
So how you, if you got two 8-year concurrent sentences, how you end up doing 16? I mean, how you end up doing 9?
Well, the first sentence was 96 months and the second sentence was 100 months.
Okay.
But, you know, they got them programs and stuff, and they don't put guys in programs early so that when they go to the parole board, you end up doing, on average, about 110% of your time. You feel me? So once I got my parole, they end up putting me in the program. So I had to do a couple extra months. I would have been out in December if I would have had everything situated. But
Got you. Okay, damn. So that's actually a big problem in Michigan that I like to highlight when it comes to the podcast, right? Because the fact that people are doing more time than they're even sentenced to based on programming, when you have been in prison 6, 7, 8 years before they decided to put you in the program. Why wouldn't you have put me in the program earlier so that I would, one, learn the information, right, but besides learning the information, have it already done when it's time to start preparing to get back to the world? Why would you wait until after? You know what I'm saying? That's a wild way to mitigate another level of punishment on top of the sentence that I already have.
Right. And they try to blame it on the lack of facilitators, man, but they could have some of them guys that's in there serving them sentences facilitate them classes.
Because the classes aren't like, they're not necessarily classes that require somebody with a a doctorate degree to facilitate, right? Who normally facilitates them programs?
There's basically people that ain't got.
Is it like
no-
psychiatrists
Yeah,
or is it
they-
officers or staff?
They come from the streets.
Okay.
For the most part.
Okay.
know.
So they may actually have people that are coming in who are like certified.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they got credentials.
Because I remember when I was doing programming, some programs had people that was credentialed. Other programs had like COs that like put on plain clothes.
Yeah, but the particular class that I had to take, because I had the drug case, like, they got to have specialized counselors for that.
Right.
But that's not hard to find, man. That's holding a lot of guys up, man. I know a lot of guys on the yard right now that I was just jailing with, just waiting on them classes.
Yeah. So we kind of got farther in than I usually get, right? Because the first questions I ask is I ask them way before we get to talking about all of that. So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, and because the reason why I didn't ask you is because I know you just got done doing your bit. Usually, guys be a little bit later coming home, right? So the first question that I normally ask is, "What's your prison number?" You remember your prison number?
Man, you want it backwards, side to side, one off, how you want it.
So you got it. This is already locked down.
Yeah, man.
And then I know where you from. You're from Lansing. You're from the south side of Lansing, Michigan. Were you born and raised here? You like grew up in this city?
Yeah. My people's migrated from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay. So let me ask you this: being from Lansing and your development here, right? I moved here when I was like in elementary school, going into middle school, but I've seen considerable changes in the dynamics of the city in the time that I've been here, as well as like going to prison and coming home. What have been some of the biggest changes you've seen around Lansing, like to you since you've been back home?
Man, it's just evolving with the times, man. Like, it's evolving with the times. Like, this is just basically like it's the same thing going on. To me, like, I ain't been out too long, man, and I don't be around like that. But for the most part, it just seems like a microcosm to the macrocosm. Like, everything is like everybody on the same page. Like, it's easier to make a couple dollars, you feel me, in the legal realm.
Okay.
And I see opportunities, bro. Like,
okay.
I really see the opportunities out here, like, for real, like, because that's all I really been focused on. Like, my old peer group, for the most part, they holding on, you feel me?
Okay.
But, like, I see the opportunities, bro, and I'm just trying to take advantage of it.
So have you like seen the new Lansing is what I call it, like new Lansing, where Lansing has grown. It used to be but so big, right? And now the adjoining counties and areas have made the cities more interconnected with each other. And therefore the city of Lansing, the Metroplex, has become a lot bigger.
Well, I did notice, like, the traffic seemed a little bit more, like, popping, like, for lack of better terms. Like, it's a lot of more, it seemed a little bit more vibrant, like, people.
Like, have you been to Okemos? Have you been to East Lansing yet?
Meridian Mall out there yet, but I could imagine, man.
Have you been over?
The economy popping.
There's been a lot of building.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's a lot going on. Like down Washington, they're building this place called, I can't remember the name of it. It's going to be an entertainment like hub.
Oh, yeah.
A concert hall type of thing. A big joint, though.
Yeah, I ain't hip to that.
It's right on Washington, right on the south, right? So, like, I guess it's between the south and Rio Town.
Okay.
But, like, there are so many developments that unless you step outside of what you're used to, you won't really see what's happening around you.
Right.
And I see that with a lot of people around, like, home. Because I've been back home about 5 years now. I came back in 2020. And in the time I've been home, I've been seeing a lot more opportunity. And then I worked for the radio station for a couple years, right? That put me up on a whole nother level of the game.
Right.
Like, being at the radio station introduced me to sales and networking on a level that I hadn't prior understood. Right. And it felt like, man, I wish everybody that I grew up with could see what I'm seeing.
They can't, man. Like, man, it ain't for everybody, man. You know, everybody got their role. Like, we just did bad motherfuckers in the joint. Like, we did long times. And, you know, when I came through MTU, you and Sidney Black was right there in the same unit.
Yeah.
And we had a dog-ass program that we was pushing, a good program, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Would make these type of circumstances probable right now. So we had been putting this type of stuff together forever, man, and a lot of guys wasn't doing that. So it makes sense to me why they not able to see those things, man, because I mean, you know, they just can't see it, man.
No cap.
Know?
I mean,
it's all love, you know, but the game ain't for everybody.
I love you from over there.
Yeah, I'll catch you in a minute when I get my shit straight and I'm able to
spin back around. Yeah, when I can spin back around.
I can't aid and assist like I want to right now.
So ain't no point in even jumping in your mix.
Might compromise both of our situations.
No cap. So I usually ask the person what's their career, but what's your plans? How long you been home?
Been home about 3 weeks.
So let me ask you this then, before you even tell me what your plans is. And when I say what's your plans, trust, I don't want you to like tell all of my listeners what your actual intimate plans are, right?
Right.
But before we even get to that part, what I want to know, and I want you to articulate for my listeners, is what have you accomplished in the 3 weeks that you've been home? What have you been able to get knocked off? As far as the things that you consider like heavy importance, what have you been able to do? And how hard was it to do those things?
Well, I've been taking things kind of slow, but making sure I get something done that's significant and meaningful every day. Like, first day out, I seen my daughter, my family, reported, hollered at some people from some programs that aid and assist people on parole coming back. When they got my ID.
You did all at the same day?
Social Security.
First day?
No, this is the next day. Like,
okay.
The next day, got my Social Security, ID, set up a bank account.
That's all first week out?
Yeah, I just put an LLC together. Like, they trying to make sure that ain't nobody already got the name. Working on that. Then been to the temp service to see what they got going on and check my credit score. Like, I've been doing a lot of things like kicking it with my older aunties and uncles and trying to see what they got going on, niece and nephew. Just really doing all of the things that I had planned on doing, man.
Well, the reason I ask that is because a large part of the work that I do is in reentry.
Yeah.
You know, I just dropped a book. I gave you the book, First 10 Moves to Forever Freedom. And in the book, I, illustrate some of the challenges that I went through and how I was able to overcome them. But like with reentry being so big to me, and to a lot of the people who listen to the podcast, I like to highlight kind of some of the challenges that people go through, and then some of the resilience and persistence, like the perseverance that you have to get things done. Because part of the trickiness of reentry is I can't gauge your work ethic and your desire and your will to like do something for self, right?
Right.
So like when I get a person, if I'm helping a person who already has the initiative, who takes the initiative to do stuff like first week home, get their driver's license, first week home, go get a bank account. You know what I'm saying? Like that is different from somebody who first week home doesn't even try. Now, that person who first week home went and got it may have tried and run into a wall and just went around the wall. Whereas the other who didn't try, now I have to work on double time to try to get you to motivated to get up to do it and then get you around this wall that you're going to inevitably hit.
Right.
So like, I appreciate the fact that you got some things done. When you come home from a long bit, a lot of times you be feeling like, man, I just want to chill for a minute. Did you have that feeling?
That's the main thing. Like if you ask anybody that I done been around, if they ask me what I'm doing, that's probably what I respond as. I'm just chilling. Like I really be trying to chill, meditate, be on point, like, cause trying to protect my energy. You feel me?
Yeah.
Want to handle the business so that I'll be able to chill.
Right,
Like,
right.
That's how I play it. Like, get up early, get stuff out the way. Then as long as I done accomplish something, I can chill.
Yeah, I feel that. So, I guess what was the hardest thing to do, or what has been the hardest thing for you in your transition so far?
What, as far as from the joint?
Yeah, what has been the hardest thing for you to do coming home? Because, like, you've been gone 9 years. Your little girl is, what, 15 now?
Man, yeah, like...
Yeah, because she was little when you left. So she, like, what, 15, 16 now? How old is she?
She's 16 now, man.
Yeah.
And, you know...
So, like...
That was a very profound experience, man. Being able to physically be in her presence in the free world again, man, you know?
Yeah.
It triggered all types of emotions, you feel me? And like one of the hardest things since I've been gone is fighting the temptation, man, to like do things that you already know the potential outcome, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it is, like for real, like because that's always gonna be there. Like when you know how to do something real easy, man, and it's accessible, it's going to always be a temptation there, but I try to convert that energy into something else, man, you know?
Yeah. Man, that must be tough because...
Temptation.
Yeah, it's an everyday temptation.
Right. Yeah.
Especially when you broke, right?
Hell
Because, like, there's a myth in our community that after you come home from prison, you somehow automatically gonna be doing better than everybody that was out here. And like everybody that comes home from prison does better than everybody that was already out here.
Right.
And I mean, part of it is because though there are those of us who do excel like that, right? But by and large, most people don't have that success when they come home from prison.
Right, because I believe like a lot of that got to do with like guys not planning for when they come home. Like all praise is due to Allah and my family, man, because if I didn't have them, I'd probably be down bad at a VOA somewhere, you feel me? But luckily, I have a solid support system that I was able to transition to. It's going to make the acclimation so much easier.
So that was a big point, though. A family, a support system. So you had some people on your side when you came home.
Man, yeah, man. It's beautiful. It's a blessing. Like, people.
So, like, what was you able to get, like, clothes and like, food, somewhere to stay You had all of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Was you even blessed with some money and stuff?
Yeah. Shout out to Brittany.
Okay.
Damn.
Okay. A few people that chipped in.
You know.
For sure.
Viney.
All right. What about I be seeing you on Facebook uploading your little food and stuff. You been going to get some good meals. That's if I got a lot of love when I came home, right? A lot of free meals.
Plenty food.
They gonna bless you with a free meal and some clothes or something.
Bro took me to the Mediterranean spot. It was off the chain. You know.
Oh man, was they doing that hibachi stuff before you went?
They was. You know, I was hip to it.
Okay.
You know, I fuck around.
Okay, because I wasn't hip. I wasn't on hibachi till I got down to Dallas. Once I got down to Dallas, I was.
You was gone for a minute.
Yeah. So I came home. In 2015. You went to the joint in 2016.
Yeah.
So like I had just touched down. Wasn't even used to nothing by the time you went to the joint.
Shook hands about 2-3 times. You know?
Yeah, well, you was also one of the first people that was there when I came home. You was, I remember I came home and went to
that bar out.
Bar out in Holt, Champions. I don't even know if it's still there. I don't think it's still there.
Yeah, that was a nice little bar though.
Yeah, we went to that little bar and you came out to show me some love that night. You and who was it? You and Reedy?
May have been RC.
Yeah, it was either you and RC or you and Willie. Somebody, yeah. Yeah, that was my first day home, man, and it wasn't long. I transferred down to Texas, and then I heard about you catching your case. But so that wasn't the first time you had been to prison, because we were in prison together.
Yeah, that wasn't my first rodeo, man.
So when was the first time you went to prison? Why'd you go to prison so many times? Nah. No, but real shit. Like, so how many times did you go to prison?
Man, I went to prison 3 times.
You been 3 times?
Prefixes, man.
Oh, it was 3 different prefixes?
Prefixes, man. Like, I really don't like to talk about this shit. It is what it is, man. Like, did that time, man. The first time I went to the joint, I caught a case down in Ben Harbor, man.
Me too. That's where I caught my case.
Caught a case down there. I was down there with one of my homegirls and one of my homies. And ended up getting caught with some weed down there, man. They sent me to the joint, sent me to boot camp. It was that Baldwin Punk Prison, SAI.
Okay.
And they let me go home on tether. Ain't learned nothing, didn't do enough time. Still was fascinated with the illusion. You feel me? So wasn't ready for what I was supposed to be doing. You feel me? Playing games in them streets.
Then when you went back the second time, that's when me and you bumped into each other.
Yeah.
That's when you came down to MTU. Yeah.
What was that? 07?
07.
07.
Yeah, because I was already in the nation.
Yeah, you had your ex. You was a fool of Islam.
Okay.
Man, and when I came to the yard, you know, Dice and X running the service.
Man.
Like, you know, we bros, we from the same hood.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, once you got them teachings, man, and me, you, and Corey X used to be hanging out, chopping it up in the day room.
Yeah, that was my man.
Engulfed in clouds of smoke. You already know how that shit used to be.
Yes, sir.
But we used to always
be building, yes, sir.
We coming up with $1 million blueprints, man, in the penitentiary, man.
No cap.
Black and white TV type time. Like, we figuring it out, man.
So let me ask you this, because me being from your hood, right, and I'm glad you made that segue, because I was going to ask you about this earlier. You said something like, man, all praise be to Allah and to my family. And one of the questions that I do ask is, why niggas be joining religions when they go to the joint, right? And so that's still a question. But a caveat to that question I want to ask you is, what was your perspective when you bumped into me, knowing me from the hood, and then finally bumping into me in the joint? I had been gone almost 7 years. I had been gone over 7 years, actually. Bumping into me in the joint, and I was like on top of my dean. I was on point, and I was on something else. So, like, how was that experience? I never even thought about that until you just said something.
Bro, that shit was like night and day, man. You feel me? Like, a 180, man. Like, for real, man. The brother wasn't even using profanity.
Right.
He wasn't smoking cigarettes. I couldn't get him to hit the joint. Man, it was just, man, but I was still young at the time.
Right,
So, like,
yeah.
I didn't really, like, appreciate it. Like, and he probably didn't at the time either. But it was like, man, like, damn, man. On one side, I'm like, damn, what my bro on? But on the other side, I'm like, damn, this might get us out our circumstances. You feel me? So I started listening a little bit more. Probably hit me with the message to the black man.
I'm sure I hit
Malcolm
you with the message
X.
to the black man.
I don't know
or
what was
something.
first, Ava Muhammad, something.
Something.
Because I
It
was
might
trying
have
to
been-
trick women.
Oh
you feel
God, I
me?
was just going to say because Ava Muhammad used to
Real
come with
love.
stuff that was slick
R.I.P.
that you would rest in power for the sister for sure. Ava Muhammad, her books used to have a message delivered in a way that it would get brothers interested because they thought they'd be able to use it on women, and you could, right? But the thing about her message is, as you was trying to read it and learn how to use it against women, your ass was learning the teachings.
It tightened you up.
You was learning what it really means to be a man and what it really is to lead a woman and that type of stuff. So yeah, all praise be to Allah for Ava Muhammad.
So,
That
so
sister
it was written, man. Like I fell into good hands. Like my man's was in the unit with me. He had his head on straight. Sydney had his head on straight. And AJ and the other couple guys that we was with, they was on point too.
Yeah.
So like we had a good chemistry up there.
Yeah,
you know?
we did.
Smith and the other unit, Lil Rod, all of them. So we was jailing up there.
Yeah, for sure.
And
We had a
I
decent
learned a lot,
homeboy
bro.
unit during that time.
yeah.
Because we don't always get a good
Man, I ain't never
homeboy
been
unit.
nowhere where it was that many people from Lansing, bro. Like I never, and you know how guys be
Yeah.
in the joint.
Yes, sir.
Like
Yes,
you would
sir.
have to show somebody because you ain't from a particular set or
Yeah.
neighborhood. Like motherfucker get the impression that shit ain't going on, things ain't going on everywhere. But you know how that go. But it was real good, man. You showed me that it was possible to transition into a more decorated soldier.
I ain't never heard it like that. I appreciate that.
You feel me?
Hey, but you just also touched on something else that I haven't really highlighted too heavily on the podcast, and that's kind of the differences in the politics in the penitentiary, right, when it comes to cities.
Right.
I have talked about it a little bit, but not too heavily. Because, like, so in the feds, for my listeners that don't know, like, in federal prison, they have a thing, what they call cars, which means that everybody, no matter where you are, what your race and whatever, your makeup, you go to your car, right? When you come in, your people are your people, and that's kind of who you stick to. Michigan is similar, but not exactly like that, right? So we don't necessarily have cars that we're stuck to based on like race. Ain't no like white car or the Mexican car or the black car but it is segregated in the sense that if you are when you get in there, you're gonna kind of migrate to the people that you know, right? So in the smaller cities, all of them kind of stick together. The Flints, the Saginaw's, the Kalamazoo's, the Grand Rapids. And I say Grand Rapids as one of the smaller cities because the population in prison in Michigan is approximately like 63% Detroit, 60-something% Detroit, and then everybody else is about scattered out, right?
Yeah.
So Detroit is more split into east side, west side.
Southwest.
And southwest. And really the southwest car is the Mexican car.
Yeah.
Damn near. And every compound is damn near going to be the Mexican car.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like the east side, west side, southwest. Then they got whatever other cities you from. The white people kind of stick to their own. but there is mixing mingling, right? Like it's not as racial as it once was.
No, like like the white guys, they in the cars now too.
Yeah.
Like, you
So
got
like
them being
Lansing
supportive.
guys from Lansing white guys, if they solid, they in the Lansing car.
Yeah.
You know, and that goes for whatever city, right? At the same time, we also kind of stick to our own, right? The blacks stick to their own, and then there's the politics of, in Michigan, our politics is not necessarily gang centered, but from what I've heard, the Bloods got such a stronghold in prison that like they have gotten to the point where they're like the biggest.
Yeah, it's starting to transition. Like the joint, like used to be ran by
religious organizations,
like,
right?
They had
The keys,
the magnetic attraction. You feel me? But like now, like a lot of them old heads, man, is trying to get the fuck home, man. Like they can't evangelize. They not about to be out there trying to get guys to come on in, man. They trying to get home, man. So like the guys just willing to give a guy some game or whatever game that they got is a part of these organizations. Like, you know, like it's not religious based anymore. Like, so the energy different. You know, don't get me wrong though. Like it's a lot of real guys in all of those circles, man.
Yeah.
And I'll be reaching out to all of them, but it's different now. The joint ain't the same as it was like when we came down.
Yeah.
So much shit you could do, man, to get distracted, man. And, you know, that's why your lane will be always open, man. You know, so much stuff that a guy could do, man, to get distracted and sidetracked.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. Man, that's deep. But another thing that I never talked about, though, is like where Lansing is situated. So I don't even know if I'm going to say I pride myself on it no more. There was a time when I prided myself on the fact that I was one of the people who made sure that Lansing's car was respected in the joint.
Yeah.
Because before I got to the joint, when I came to the joint, the Lansing car wasn't about shit.
Right. Yeah. I understand that too. Like for real. Like, yeah. Like it's just a certain type of person from one place. You feel me? Like, no, it's real guys everywhere. Man. It's suckers everywhere, man.
Because that was kind of the stigma that like Lansing was soft and that like the guys from Lansing wasn't like that.
Don't get it twisted. Y'all just don't read the news. Like, y'all just not informed, man. You know, got the audacity to believe that just because
it's the capital
100
city
miles from somewhere, no, we got the same problems, the same struggles, the same circumstances, man. It may look a little cleaner, but man, looks could be deceiving.
And that's only in certain areas. Like we just don't have what you would consider like a ghetto.
Right.
We have areas that are neglected. There's blight. There's like, you know what I mean? Where gentrification happens and certain people are pushed to certain areas. That's a thing in Lansing as well as any other city. But I think the difference is because of the racial dynamic makeup of the area, it's hard to actually corral black people into any one area.
Right.
Which is why Malcolm called the Negroes from Lansing a peculiar Negro. This is a peculiar place. This is the place that told him that, nigga, your people will never hire you. They'll never trust you, and my people will never hire you. You know what I'm saying? So, like, this is the place where his daddy was drugged out and killed on the railroad track.
Right.
That was here.
Yeah.
So, like, when you think about that as the history, as part of the history of Lansing, like, of course, it looks different than it would in Detroit or something like that. You know what I mean? So, how would you describe your time in there, bro? This time, that 9 years. Because like you did, I remember, before you even get into that, I remember when you came down back in like 07, 06, 07, whatever, right? And I remember trying to pour this shit in you. Like, I remember trying to pour the game into you. Everything that I had learned, I remember like, man, I need Lil E to get this shit before he walk up out the penitentiary.
Right.
And on one hand, I think I saw it exactly the way you did. Like, on one hand, I saw you like half-ass listening, like, these niggas crazy. But then on the other hand, I saw you like, but shit, it do kind of make sense. So let me explore this a little farther.
Right.
And I remember, I think you either rolled out or were you there when they rolled me up north?
No, I ended up getting my parole and went to Bellamy Creek for the reentry program.
So by the time you ended up leaving, I was like, okay, I don't know. I don't know if this nigga got it or if he just got enough to get out there and fuck something up. All right. So I didn't see you no more though. You got out the penitentiary and you stayed home. You didn't go back to the penitentiary after that until after I came home, right?
Right. Yeah.
So from that perspective, I was like, man, maybe he did get this shit. And then when I came home and you was doing straight, and like I seen you, I want to say you had just dropped a truck or something. You was just doing something, and I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, all right, dog, it's still on point. And then you went to the joint and crushed me. I was like, whoa.
Doing entirely too much, man.
So I said all of that because I can remember how that second bit was when you was around me on the yard and like you was doing what a young nigga do on the yard, right? So how was that different for this last bit, that 9 years? How did you do this that time?
Man, more gravity came with it, man. Like I had to focus, man. Like I said, I was trying to get my time back, so I always was in the law library.
Your ass was trying to get that little 8 years back. I don't want to do that years.
Like, shooting every shot that a real person can shoot. Like, I'm trying my damnedest to get up out of there. And
say, I don't want to do 8 years.
St. Louis level 4 lockdown.
Oh, you went to St. Louis level 4?
Yeah. Was there.
Oh, because with an 8 year bit, you got to start in level 4.
Got to start in the level 4. So time consisted of, like, I went back into the recesses of my mind and got back on track. Like, okay, yeah, I went out there and played, and these is the consequences of that lifestyle. I don't want it no more. Can't pay me to do that no more. Like, I promise you, like, when I got sentenced, man, Ashton Kutcher could have came out like, you punked, man. We just kidding. and I would have been, man, saved and sanctified.
Saved and sanctified.
I had learned when I got sentenced, man, because I didn't expect to get that much time. So, like, I didn't let it discourage me, man, or take away from the positive energy that I had in me, man. So I just had to treat it like a university again, man, and try to get back. Work out, read, deal with a couple people in the streets, try not to overburden my peoples, hustle a little bit, and just call and make sure everybody's straight every day, man. Just over and over and over, man, like the Groundhog Day, man,
Man, no cap. Every day is the same day.
Same cook-ups, like the fried rice don't get no different. Like, you can only mix it up a certain way. You feel me? Like, you can only do it so many ways, but it's the same season and base ingredients. So it all tastes the same.
Nigga be in that bitch whipping like he changing that shit. That's just the same thing.
It's all the same, bro. Whether you using a microwave or a stinger. You feel me? So I just spent my time, man, trying to create a little bit more positive energy for myself, man, and understand myself a little bit more better, man, and zero in, man, and on self-studies like business, spirituality, personal finances, real estate, like things that I could bring back to the neighborhood, man, and guys ain't got to go to school for 4-5 years for it, man. Like, the younger generation, they could just come over here and get it from us, and we send them on their way, man, to a beautiful future, you know? So it was like I was focusing on coming home, man, and putting more energy towards the community that I played a part in destroying. You feel me? Like, because everything I was doing wasn't peaches and cream.
Real.
And it's a lot of kids around here, man, that people that I grew up with, they children, man.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to give them as much game as I possibly can, man. So, and that was the program that I was pushing the whole time I was gone, man. So just hung around a lot of good guys, brilliant guys, hustling guys, man. You know, mostly guys that wasn't never coming home, man. They got their head all straight. That if they got out right now, man, I'm almost certain they would do monumental things, man. But due to the circumstances, man, it's gonna take a minute. But
Speaking of that, you said something about Dice Next. You heard he got back?
man, I had heard that. I want to say I heard that before I got out the joint.
Yeah, he got back. I just so I'm in contact with him. He calls me on a regular basis. We JPay and all of that. But his case was overturned. It was appealed by the prosecution, but he goes to court on the 7th, I believe. I got it in my phone. But yeah, he got back. He going back to court soon. So inshallah, we'll have the brother home soon, man, because he is in fact one of those brothers that I feel like if they let him out of there, he will do monumental things. He is a brother that I consider a mentor of mine. Yeah. That's why you were able to get so closely interconnected with the teachings and the leadership from him because of how I was locked into him. I looked at that brother like he was the minister on the compound. So,
Right.
Yeah, that was solid. What's the best book you read while you was in there?
Man, it's so many, man. Like, I'd rather, like, probably name a few.
Go ahead. I just, what was you thinking? What was getting put on your mind?
Message to the Black Man.
Okay.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay.
Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
The New Jim Crow.
Man, that's what sparked this whole revolution out here.
Oh, yeah?
That's where my job comes from. That's where like a lot of this peer-led reentry stuff comes from.
Yeah.
Because her book sparked a revolution that made people recognize what was going on in mass incarceration.
Yeah, she cold with
She
it. She
cold.
break it down from back then to the moment, like right after slavery. Like that was a very informative book.
Very.
Yeah.
Very.
A lot of books, man. That's what I spent my time on, man.
Yeah.
The Alchemist, Millionaire Next Door, like this is just so many books, man. And that's what I used to like to spend my time doing, man, because if you think about it, like that's like you chopping it up with a millionaire. You feel me? If you reading Russell Simmons' book, you know, like
Yeah,
that game from them guys, man.
Nipsey said on the song, man, I study rich niggas' moves like it's my homework. And like ever since I heard that, that's what I've been doing.
You feel me?
I've been watching, like, because if you study their moves, they're telling you how to do it yourself.
It's there.
It's there.
It's there.
What about the music? How was you on what your player was laying like that? I know y'all had tablets in there now, right?
Yeah, we had tablets, man. Like, I be rapping a little bit, like, so, like, I listen to a lot of local music for the most part, like Michigan guys, man, that's doing their thing. Like, I fuck with the industry guys a little bit too, man, but, like, I like that close proximity, like motherfuckers just right down the street talking about shit that I could relate to, you know, like, so I had plenty of music, man, but really, like, when I used to be listening to my music, I'd be writing some.
Okay.
You feel me? Like, dropping tracks and stuff.
So that's something you plan on doing, getting in the music business?
It's something that I can see myself eventually venturing off into, like, once everything is in motion.
Yeah, you on parole?
Yeah, I'm on parole.
How long?
12 months.
Okay. Walk that down.
Yeah.
Was you in there gambling? Was gambling part of your hustle in there?
No, again, I don't gamble, man. I used to be the fudge man for a second, man.
Okay.
I had a whole compound on lock with the fudge, man.
Okay.
You know, and I ain't gamble. Like, gambling wasn't my thing, you know.
Got you.
During the course of my bit, hustled a little bit, but like, shout out to my family, man. They made sure I was on point, man, you know, so didn't really have to. Like, I ain't no gambler.
Yeah.
Nah, that wasn't my thing. Them boys be gambling on ass, man.
You know what? I didn't let you finish answering that one question either. So what the question I was asking is, why do people join religions in the joint? Why you think guys join a religion in the joint?
Shit, I think like it's crazy, man. Like, because the 5%ers break it down, like they break like numbers down, like, and it's like most people join religions for protection. Some of them, like a very little bit of them, join them to like run game on people, and then like it's a real little bit, probably about 5%, that join them organizations because they trying to do something to change the community. So most of them guys, and that's all the way across the board. That's gangs and everything. Like, the numbers is still the same in gangs, like all of that. Like, most of them guys is in there for protection, and some of them trying to get down, create personal gains off of it, and some of them really is trying to, a little bit, is trying to get back to the community. You feel me? And at first, I can't even lie and say that I wasn't a part of that 10 percentile that was trying to get in and run some game. You feel me? But trying to usher my way into that other echelon, you feel me, that's all the way on point. And
I never heard it broke down like
pure.
that, but dog, that's on point.
You feel me?
I never heard it broke down like that. So what, to my listeners that don't know, so like the 5% Nation of Islam teach from the supreme wisdom lessons of Master Farad Muhammad as given to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So the lessons are questions that Master Farad Muhammad asked the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and they're his answers. But inside of that teaching is supreme mathematics. And the breakdown is 85% of the world are the blind, deaf, and dumb. They don't know what's going on. Things are just kind of happening around them. And they go to God because they don't know nothing else. So they just go to whatever they are told is God, and they just leave it up to that because they're blind, deaf, and dumb. God can handle it.
Right.
Then there's 10% of people who know the realities of God. They know what God is, where God is, how to find God, and how to access the power of God. But they use that power, they use that information, they use that knowledge in order to deceive people and gather personal gain.
Right.
And not necessarily even deceive it, but just to get personal gain from that knowledge that they have, which the knowledge was given for the sake of all humanity to get to their highest perspective or their highest level. And that last level of people, those 5%, are those people who take that knowledge of God and they deliver that knowledge of God to the people in order to free the people from the chains of mental slavery and that fearfulness and that needing to be protected level of the 85%. That's deep. I ain't never heard it broke down like that when it comes to joining religions in prison, but that makes sense.
Right.
And I even see it from not necessarily protection, because I think I joined the Nation of Islam not because I needed protection. I didn't need no protection. I specifically didn't join anything for my first 5 years in prison because I wanted to prove that I ain't need no help. I could stab you by myself. Mm-hmm. But what I didn't have is security. I didn't have a real firm foundation in God. So when I wanted to find one, I just went to the Nation of Islam trying to find whatever that God is. And then I was given information. And with that information, I was given power. Because then I was able to use this information to either better my positioning, because that's what I did. I bettered my positioning in prison.
Right.
Because inside of organizations, you get to determine outcomes of circumstances in a penitentiary. As a high-ranking member of the Nation of Islam, I then had power over most of the members of the Nation of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I had security, and I could use that security to benefit me, or I could take it another level and use that information that I got to help the people.
Right.
And that's what I eventually got to the level of doing. But man, I've seen all three levels. So man, that was a good breakdown, bro. I appreciate that.
I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Religions, man, like that's what it is, man. And some guys do get the breakdown of the religion and continue to progress, you know?
Yeah.
Use it as an instrument to better themselves, man, and make it back home. And that's what I did. Like it was a place for encouragement and motivation, man, when the motivation weren't in other places, you know. But yeah, religion is prevalent in the joint. For sure.
Is it worth it for a female to hold a guy down in the joint?
Yeah. Yep. Ain't no doubt about it, because like at the end of the day, even if it doesn't turn out how you anticipated it to turn out, it was an experience, it was a life lesson, and it's going to create good karma for you and the people around you if you holding down somebody in the joint, especially if he got his head on halfway straight, because he going to be able to give you something that's going to be tangible in the real world. So most definitely, like, you supposed to hold that man down. Like, I ain't saying.
Would you tell your daughter to hold a guy down? If she had a boyfriend right now, right? She's 16.
Yeah.
She got a boyfriend right now, or maybe 2 years from now, right? She got a boyfriend. She 18. She got a boyfriend. He go to prison. He got to do a decent bit. Let's not say 20 years or nothing, but maybe 10 years. He got to do it down. 8 years, right?
Right.
Would you recommend for her to hold him down?
Keep
your
in
daughter.
touch. Keep in touch, man. Long as he's understanding, keep in touch. You feel me? Long as the potential is evident, keep in touch, man. Like, you know, because you never know what a person's circumstances or position in life may be 20 years fast forward after he done came from doing that bad motherfucker and got on his shit and stayed diligent. And now he up, man, and now he giving life to people. You never know. Like, you might be associating yourself with one of those 5 percentiles, man. You know, a person that's gonna come out here and be breath of fresh air to the community, man. Like, people need that. Like, people need that support and communication, you know. That keep guys from fighting and all types of shit, man. Like, like, that shit ain't bad. That keep guys on level 2 yards.
I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, but I think the way that I always break it down is like, I'm going to tell my daughter, don't you hold no nigga down. Like, you can stay in touch. And as you're staying in touch, make sure that he's elevating on the levels that you're elevating. Because I've also seen good women hold down dumbass niggas who don't become better men while in prison.
Right.
And I wouldn't want that for my daughter.
Right.
I wouldn't want you to hold him down and then come home. He come home 8 years later and you find out this guy an idiot.
Right.
Or he was a lame in the joint. He was in there, you know, having Diddy parties. And,
man.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. But you know, like,
because like, how many bold guys you done met in the joint?
A whole bunch of them.
Okay.
A whole bunch of them, man.
Now, how would you want your daughter to hold that down?
Hell no, but like, I would like to believe that our daughters would be able to gauge, like, if they was in a situation, like, at that age later on in life, they ain't even dealing with a guy that got the capacity to rock like that.
Right.
I would like to believe. So, like, if she's dealing with somebody, it's got to be somebody with
that's
an
worth
aptitude,
something. Yeah.
you feel me, that got a little IQ about itself.
Type shit.
Ain't
straight goofy
business, you feel me? So, like, I mean, deal with them in the moment. Like, I'm not saying, like, restrict yourself from natural urges and inclinations. No, none of that. Just deal with him in the moment, and he's understanding enough for you to be yourself and continue to communicate with him, because you never know what his station in life gonna be eventually.
Then my thing about it is, the other side of it is, how do I say this without, because I don't want to make anybody feel offended. What if she holds you down and you come home and she's not the woman you want her to be?
Oh man, this you man. People go through that all the time. Like, motherfuckers be getting catfished in the joint, man. Motherfuckers be messing with somebody, man, and they pump faking. But this is the whole
I ain't even
thing.
talking about pump faking. I'm talking about, like, you and her was right here when you left. While you was in there, she just kind of stayed the same girl.
Right.
And you done took another path. You done been reading, you done been sitting down, reflecting, you done been getting in programs, you done been imagining different stuff, writing business plans. She just been getting through day to day. She been paying bills, taking care of the kids, or doing whatever. She hasn't had time to do the mental development that you have, and y'all were not able to bridge that from inside, where she was meeting you on them same levels mentally.
Right.
So you done got out. She is more established financially, right? Because she got a car, a crib, the bills is paid, whoop-de-whoop. You ain't got shit.
Right.
But she don't think nothing like the type of damn woman you can deal with.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with that? Have you experienced that? Is that a thing?
Man, like, me on firsthand, like, I haven't experienced that, but, like, man, guy got to be selfish getting out the joint, man. Like, that's...
So that same guy, your daughter done held that guy down, and she didn't come up. She didn't meet him on them levels.
Right.
Now what?
Right.
Now your daughter done kept it solid, and dog trying to keep it 100.
Damn, but, like, that's deep, though, because, like, did she keep it solid? Because, like, did he, in his mind, was she, damn, man, like, was she telling him she was keeping it solid, and that she was moving with aim and purpose and accomplishing goals and stuff? Or were you just doing your bit and you knew that she wasn't progressing and evolving in the right direction? You feel me?
Even
like,
if she wasn't, she was still making sure you had money on your books, making sure you had visits, making sure you had books or whatever you wanted ordered. She was making sure.
Oh yeah, like that's like you gotta feed her with a long handled spoon, put her on some type of probation. You feel me? Like yeah, like, give her a program, but you're gonna have to feed them with a long handled spoon, man, because, like, them energies ain't gonna collaborate. Like, they're not gonna mesh. They're not gonna work well together, man. Like, I mean, I'm moving in this direction, in this trajectory, and you going that way. Like, I still fuck with you. I still love you. JPay, secure packs, this, that, and the third.
Yeah, she did all that.
All of that. I appreciate that, and you'll get that back and some.
When's she gonna get it back?
But...
Because, like, I'm asking you this, right, and not necessarily trying to put you on the spot for your personal life.
Right.
But, like, these are real scenarios, right, where I got homeboys and shit. If I'm keeping it real, I've been through it myself, where, man, I did 15 years, bro. These girls came to see me. One of my friends just died, and I wasn't even able to go to her funeral. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and... You know what I'm saying? Like, she'll never be able to get her payback.
Right. Yeah.
I'll never be able to be like, shit, I got rich. Here go a Benz, Sharika. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's kind of how life is. It's like life is happening. Like, so me and her, and I'll use her as an example because I think she was the closest to me, right? But it's like when I came home, we both acknowledged that we wasn't on the same type of time, right?
Right.
So it was no hope for us to really be together, right? She also ended up getting married and stuff, right? So, like, it wasn't I'm gonna pay her back by being with her type of thing. But we were still close. Like, it was all, she could always call me if I could help. I was always there to help and that type of thing. But it's like, because we wasn't gonna be together, what would be her payback for the holding down? Even though I ain't finna act like Sherette your ass. No, you wasn't. But like, she still was like more solid than the other 98% of people that knew me before I went to prison, right? So I feel like those people who rocked it out with me deserve to see my success, to be a part of my success as it happens. Yeah. But hell, success takes time. Right. I've been home almost 10 years. I ain't got to the point where I want to be. So like, until I get to the point where I feel like I got there, how do I shower them back? So like, that's why I come from the perspective of like, man, I don't think it makes sense to hold a nigga down. Let that nigga do his bit. Stay friends or whatever, but like, y'all might become two different people in there.
That's what it is though. Like, just being a ear. Like, that's all it is at the end of the day. Like, just being somebody, man, that is listening and letting the guy know that I'm with you to a certain extent. You feel me? Like, it ain't too much more than that. Yeah. And it's very much appreciative. You feel me? Yeah. Like, them guys be needing that for sure. Like, make them boys' days go by a little bit faster.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
What was the scariest thing that happened while you was in the joint?
Man, well, like, the most, like, I don't know if it's scary, but like, people dying, man. Like, I lost some people, man. One of my aunties died a couple months ago. One of my right hand men died like 6 months ago. Toast. Yeah. Like, I used to talk to him every day on the phone, and he always made sure I was straight. And like, one day I ain't talked to him for a few days, man. He done passed away. Like, death, bro. Like,
how you get through it?
My granddad died, all types of shit while I was in the joint, bro.
How you get through that shit?
Man, I had to. Like, I had to. You know, that would if I crashed out, that wasn't gonna do nothing but add more flame to the fire and have more grave effect on the people that fuck with me and that's grieving already and that love me. You feel me? So, you know, I probably blew some loud from here to there, you know, and prayed, stayed focused, looked at the brighter side, knew that one day I'd be back out and I would be able to be productive again and represent them people in an appropriate fashion, you know? So, like, holding on to that future date, man, is really what kept me going. Like, holding on to, I ain't doing life. I ain't doing 20. I ain't doing 15. Yeah, and I'm thinking I'm about to get back during the course of my bid. Yeah. So, like,
that gives you hope.
Optimism.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, they about to pass good time. Every year they talking about
my entire 15 years they did that. But now that I work for MySemi and I understand second look legislation and the work that we've been doing on that, now I get what's been going on.
Right.
And like,
them boys discouraged in there. Like, they want that second chance acting that good time.
Yes, man. Sir.
Like, they're impatiently waiting for it, man. Like, and there's a lot of guys out there that is in there that ain't gonna be on no bullshit when they get out.
Right, facts. You talked about death. Was that also the toughest things you had to overcome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely. The death. Like,
yeah.
Death for sure. Like being away from my daughter, being away from my siblings. The potential that somebody close to me, other than them, to die too. Like that's a wicked thought. You feel me? Like when you in the joint, like that could resort into all types of shit. Like
For sure.
crash out, no problem.
What's the biggest lesson you learned in there?
One of the biggest lessons I learned while I was in there, man, is that time is the most valuable asset. One of the most valuable assets on earth. Like in a man's life, man, that time is very important, man. Like you can't do nothing without time. Waste your time. Use it wisely. Reap benefits, man. Like time is very important. Like you got to spend your time wisely. You can't put yourself in a position to where you would potentially not be able to regulate your time. Like time is very important, man. Like, and doing time just takes so much away from what you could be doing with your time, man. Time is very important, bro. Like,
what's missing from reentry? What can be added or what's falling through the cracks? What more can be done to help people in their transition coming home?
For sure, employment, like guaranteed employment, like because that be a lot of the people from our walk of life problem or reason that they resort to the lifestyle that they get into, man, the lack of income.
So not necessarily employment, like gainful employment where you can actually make some reasonable money.
Yeah, gainful employment, like so that the guy have a little wiggle room to live a little, like be able to be on time with time of the economy, like just gainfully employment and financial literacy, man. Like it wouldn't hurt to incentivize guys to do the right thing either. Like the government got the money. So why not incentivize guys to do the right thing, man, and find jobs or go back to school? Like they taking money from a lot of places in the federal government. So like, why not reallocate it towards something that would force inmates to become stand-up citizens? Upstanding citizens. Give them a little stimulus package. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with
Nothing
that.
wrong with you blessing a guy that done went and worked for a red penny hours in the joint, Bless him, give him a heads up, and I guarantee you that recidivism rate gonna go down. Give him something.
Give him something.
But y'all really want him in the joint, or is y'all really trying to
I
rehabilitate?
wonder, I have
people?
not seen any studies on what the crime rate looked like during that time, during the pandemic when there was a lot of money floating around. When like everybody seemed to have some money.
I would gamble that it went down. Like,
I would gamble that it went down. But I would also gamble that it went up, dog. Boy, because if you was out here, boy, the shiesty masks was nuts. The shiesty masks were crazy. Yeah. What's the best thing about being home?
Man, the best thing about being home, man, is this fresh, free air, man. Like the ability to be able just to chill and do me and enjoy the moment without having to have a bunkie around, without having to worry about these police, man, harassing the guy. Like, it's just so many things, too many to enumerate, man. The food.
Yeah.
The clothes, I'm getting my swag back up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's a lot of eye candy on social media. Like, it's just beautiful being able to be out here with my daughter. Like, it's just so many things, man. Just too many to ramble off.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The fruit, like, I'm able to eat fruit again. I'm still working out. So.
Yes, sir. The last thing I asked, man, guidance, attention, motivation, and education. It's the acronym for GAME.
Okay.
I stole it from Gillian Wallow. I don't know if you heard of them. They got a podcast called $1 Million Worth of Game. I consider Wallow 267 like a satellite mentor of mine. Okay. So he says that all the time, man. Guidance, intention, motivation, and education. Any free game you want to drop to the listeners before we go?
Yeah, man. Value your freedom and take your time, man. And if you got a plan, a blueprint, the likelihood of you getting to where you're trying to get to is going to be higher, man. So just stay down to come up, man, and stay out these authorities' way. It's real out here.
Yes, sir. I love to have a plan because you can't get to where you're going, or at least you get to where you're going faster if you have a direction on getting there. So that's something I tell my guys that I mentor at Peckham. So I appreciate that one. And that said, man, y'all know what time it is. I appreciate y'all listening. That was my brother Ethan. It's been a good hour and some change, man. We got to really build. So y'all stay tuned. 17 Winners Podcast. Free to real.
Free to real.